I did it. Folks, we did it. We're here. It's the live reality games recap podcast. What do you know? It's me, Naomi Calhoun. I'm here recapping Survivor Michigan Wolverine Wars, episode 4. I'm so both in love with this season and also stressed out and emotionally destroyed from it. So thank you so much, Cooper. But we'll talk to you in a second. We have Lee here joining me. Lee, how are you tonight? This morning? It's late for you.
It's like 1 a.m. for me. I am doing sad because my favorite went home.
Yeah, we had a message a couple days ago that was like, hey, just whenever Ben is eliminated, I'd love to be on the interview. And I said, okay, that'll be down the line, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's like,
here we are.
Yeah.
Oh, what a sad life we lead. Well, helping us reanalyze and live through the trauma of what we just watched, it's the host, it's Cooper. It's the new king of Survivor Michigan. How are you, Cooper? Long time no see.
I don't know about king, but yes, thank you once again for having me on. We're like 4 episodes in, and it's the first time I get to come on here and talk about it. So I'm super excited for all of your questions. Always happy to be here. Always happy to talk about it.
I'm so excited. I love you and Ian. Always have such great insight, and I love behind the scenes details because they're always messier than the real show. But we're so excited to talk about this episode. Truly a testament of human endurance and just Survivor fandom as a whole, and how hard your skull can be. I loved it. Let's start off right off the back. How did you get Eric Reich back to show up in the freezing cold?
So there's kind of like a long story, but I'm going to keep it as short as possible because I could probably talk 30 minutes about it. But basically, he lives in the area. He literally lives in Ann Arbor. It's like 15 minutes outside of the campus. And so he knew that we were kind of putting on like a Survivor Michigan game on campus, and he'd always kind of wanted to do like his own little Survivor live game eventually at some point and kind of host that. So he actually got in contact with us first about doing just a game over the summer and was like, hey, do you have any tips? Do you want to help out? I'm you guys have run a few seasons now, just kind of asking us. And so that actually never came about. We couldn't end up making all the logistics of it work out. But just from that, we started talking, and then we were like, why don't we try to just get him to come to one of our challenges? That'd be super cool. It'd be a super fun reward for whatever we and we had so many super fans in this cast too, and just on production as a whole, it was just if we could just get everyone to meet him, it would be so cool. So we reached out. He's such an amazing guy. I mean, he jumped right on it. He was of course, absolutely, I'm not doing anything, would love to just come for a day, whatever. So he jumped right at that opportunity, and we were so glad to have him. And obviously we then chose a very fun challenge for him to participate in. So yeah.
Lee, what did you think of the icon Eric Reichenbach showing up on objectively the better Survivor?
I was really excited to see him. I was like, oh my god, an actual person that went through the experience of Survivor not once but twice. And somebody that's as iconic as Eric. You remember, I think Jack said it, you remember Eric for, yeah, it was a dumb move, but you still remember it.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Eric has survived the test of time. We are still talking about him to this day. Jack's still talking about him after the challenge. And it was so much fun to see him. Now, I want to talk about, first of all, I love the confessionals. I love that Eric not only did confessionals with his dog and said, let's have a good time. And that dog was so patient. Oh my God. He stayed there the whole time. That dog I've seen on Sequester before too. Iconic. Eric is an iconic dog. Is that even possible? Cooper, were you guys there filming his confessionals later, or you're all right, just tell us your thoughts and we'll watch it later?
Yeah, I think it was actually maybe a week or so later, somebody on production had the idea. We were like, can we just also put Eric in the episode and just have him doing confessionals too? So we literally just hit him up again. We were like, hey, can we just stop by your place at some point and just do a confessional with you? And he was like, oh, absolutely, come right on over. So I think it was just me and maybe Sam from season 2 and just like drove over to his place, did a confessional. He has 2 amazing golden retrievers. I think you only saw one of them just like on the couch with him, but he has another one too. Very cute. So yes, that was fun to just kind of like also go there and just do a confessional with Eric too. So random.
Lee, did you have a favorite Eric moment in this episode?
Just whenever his dog was on screen.
Mm-hmm. Copy. Yeah, I agree. I loved how miffed Eric was at Jack bringing up the immunity giveaway, because it just like it makes it so perfect. Like if he was just like good natured about it and be like, he is a little bit, but like the fact that he's still like, that was annoying, is like so like perfect Survivor. I was laughing my ass off the whole challenge. This whole, sort of, it felt like when Cochran came on Game Changers, it really did, of just like, oh, and now he's going to give a confession about how crazy Debbie is. I love from start to finish. Glad you guys did it. Hopefully more Survivors, or just more Eric rocking back in the future in Survivor Michigan. It's kind of my dream.
Maybe he takes over as host if Cooper graduates.
Yeah, that's definitely not like a weird thing to do. Hey, 20 college students, you want to hang out?
Maybe. I don't know. I think I've said this before, but this is my last season hosting. So starting next season, there is a new host. It's somebody. I won't spoil it, but somebody.
I don't like that. I hear what you're saying and I choose to ignore it. I will not acknowledge that reality until it's forced upon me. So this episode starts out with, Tokidoki had to kill one of their family members, and it was very sad. What? I don't even know. We covered all of that in last week's episode. Adam, such a treat to talk to. Cooper, were you surprised that your vote wasn't the voted out person? Were you surprised that Kat did not go home?
No. I mean, it would have taken a lot to change people's minds from Adam. Like, he had just kind of like been so all over the place with so many different people. He'd like started this alliance that really like nobody wanted to be in, and had just like alienated himself, that like not much we could have done from a production side would have like changed that. Like, we would have basically had to step in and been like, no, we like disqualified Kat from the entire game for doing what she did, which would have been such an overreaction. So we basically knew that what we were doing probably wasn't going to change the outcome of the episode. I mean, whether or not we would have just done the same punishment anyway. We try to not interfere with what's happening in the game, but like, we did also want to send a message at that point. But yeah, in terms of like it maybe switching off of Adam, like we tried to maybe make it seem like it was happening in the show, but like it was so dead set on Adam basically the whole week.
It's a shame. Lee, what did you think of Tokidoki? Were you surprised that Adam went?
Not really, because it seems like that's what everybody was talking about. It's like Adam has to go. Unless Shannon somehow managed to convince everyone that her hatred of Kat was so big that she had to leave.
Right.
Other than that, it was most likely Adam. We got an interesting vote out of it. Only in Survivor Michigan, at an 8-person tribal, 9 votes have been casted.
Only. Which we love to see for Survivor firsts. And
second, it happened before. In Victor's Valiant.
Oh, God damn it. That's right.
When Matt and Mitch got penalty votes and that weird twist that happened.
Yes. Same
vote count as well, a 6-2-1 vote.
I'm not a numbers person. But I assume you're correct, and Cooper, you lived it. So I'm sure you're both right. When Matt, the first thing I want to talk about this episode is when Matt tells Kat that he voted for her. Matthew. Sorry, Matthew. When Matthew tells Kat that he voted for her, I was like, don't fucking say anything. Let her figure it out. Like, who cares? Like, if she hears about it, it's like, yeah, idol. But like, I don't know. I didn't feel like this actually accomplished what we would assume it would accomplish, which is like, oh, no hard feelings. Who cares? Water under the bridge, right? Cooper, am I wrong? I feel like this did not do a damn thing for Matthew.
So yeah, it definitely didn't help him, but I totally understand why he did it in the sense that like everything you have seen from Kat and everything like that people were on like actually playing had seen from Kat was just like that she did not care like one bit. So Matthew was just like, oh, I'm just gonna tell her this and she'll be like, I don't even care, and then they'll just move past it and it will never get brought up again. Obviously that doesn't really happen. Kat's more just like, why are you even speaking to me in the first place? Like, just leave me alone and don't even speak to me.
Get away from me,
like,
peasant. Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't really work out like that, but like he basically was just thought that Kat wasn't even gonna care. It was just never gonna get brought up again. He just wanted to like get it done, deal with it, like water under the bridge.
Lee, I think this is interesting because I think this episode is really defined by the people who seem like they're not playing and then kind of blow things up with how much they're actually just telling and people and talking to people. Lee, what did you think of Matthew talking to Kat?
I mean, it was pretty much explained. He just wanted to be like, I just want to tell you, yeah, I voted for you, yada yada. And I think Kat was more annoyed that he told her rather than if they just even if he said nothing. I think Kat would have been less of a target on him. He's just trying to like play this like, even though everybody hates Kat, there's still I can still have a gateway with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I was just gonna say like I think if Matthew was in Kat's spot, he knows that he would be like, who voted for me, who did this, and try to figure it out. And so he's just expecting everybody else to think that way. So he's like, I'll just come forward and just like give that information. Maybe that'll like help it in case she finds out another way. But like Kat doesn't think like that. Like the odds that she was probably even gonna go ask about who else voted for her was like kind of small in the first place, realistically. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she forgot that she got an extra vote. I think she was like, penalty vote. It's like, yeah, I got the penalty vote. And somebody says, well, we don't know who voted. She's like, I got another vote? Oh, I guess I did.
Oh, no.
Yeah, basically.
And the other thing, too, is that I think that Matthew I think this is the reason I think partially why this is so bad for Matthew, and it's not really his fault as a Survivor fan, but because he's a returner, when he goes up to somebody and says, hey, I voted for, and he looks like he's schmoozing too much. And it basically comes across as really insincere, especially if you don't really have the relationship with Kat. Like, maybe if Eliza did it, it would be like, it would be more of a betrayal and she'd have to apologize. But it's like, get away from me. Don't talk to me. Like, you just voted for me. I don't give two rats butts. Like, I don't want to talk about it. And yeah, so I feel like Matthew needs to watch out for like the schmoozing and networking of it all that would make him kind of what Ben goes through this episode, which is like they're talking too much to people and they're not getting the desired reaction from the audience they're trying to court.
Yeah.
No, that's not the word. You know what I mean. I'm not smart.
Yeah, I mean the returnees have a huge spotlight on them this season. Even from when we just like brought them out, like we had the 12 people like newbies kind of stand there, and then we brought the 4 returnees in. So like very much from the start, like they have a spotlight on them. Everything that they did was seen by all the other players, and like you couldn't really hide in any way. Like everything that you did just was so magnified. So even these little things like this, like everyone see it and everyone's reacting to it.
Absolutely. Lee, what else do you want to talk? Well, actually, I should show this quote from our dear leader, Dustin. Poor Adam. I loved his secret alliance. He was the godfather at. I felt like it was more like the Power Rangers. I think I freaked out more than the new players for the reveal. This is true. I also, I think notably, watched the trailer for that season and was just screaming alone in my kitchen when everybody kept popping up on that trailer. So I agree. I think we are more excited than the players for the returners.
Literally after Mason Confused and it showed that trailer of like 4 people returning and Matthew, I wrote down in a book and paper like every potential returnee, like who could come back, reasons for why, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Who did you think it was going to be?
I knew Matthew, obviously, and I knew Eliza would be. I really thought Aaron could. Jack was another obvious. Sam and Sarah Z.
When you guys posted that original clip of like Ben getting the call again, I was like, oh, it's All Stars already. And I was like, oh, I can't wait. And then it was like, no, it's not All Stars, but it is a bunch of stars. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. Dustin says Maggie, couldn't agree more. I was hoping for like a Brie comeback. I have to say, and he's very nice and very sweet, but Jack for me was somebody I did not want to see on this season. And so I was like, okay, here we go. Like, all the little game bots get to come back, but I love them. I think they're doing a lot of fun. And, I think as proof of this vote, like shit's hitting the fan. And it's going to continue to hit the fan for this season. I can't wait.
I got a quick question about the returnees. Was it a worry, the fact that it was 3 guys, 1 girl?
A little bit. We would have preferred 2 and 2. Obviously, like most of the time you just want like a more balanced cast and literally everything you try to do from start to finish. But like the way we picked the returnees was like basically it came down to mostly like 2 factors. It was like who had been bugging us for like a year and a half that they wanted to play again. Or had gotten voted out.
And then who wasn't Matthew, right?
Yeah. So and the combination of who, if we had a future season with like returnees or like an all-star season, like who wasn't going to be able to participate in that. So it was a lot of people that were like, this was going to be their last semester on campus for whatever reason. So that was a huge factor. It was just like, this was all of these last people's time to play. Like anybody who could play in future seasons, we kind of tried to hold off on, and we're like, you like might be able to get your chance, but just like later, like it basically just came down to like priority and who was just like, this is my last semester. Like I need to play a second time. Like I have unfinished business.
I think that's fine. I don't know how you feel about this, Lee, but I don't think it's a huge detriment to the game when the game is always going to be inherently like gender balanced, right? Like it doesn't like destroy, it doesn't need to be an edge of extinction, like that doesn't inherently mean it's good or bad. But I do think it does, like, I actually think it puts more of a spotlight on the men because they're all very, very strong players. And so you look at all 3 of them and they feel really similar. Whereas Eliza has the ability to really blend into the background and say like, oh, I'm just nice. And she's very nice. And she's very good at like hiding in the background and being like, oh, they're fighting. I have no idea why. That's what I love about her. Well, Tokidoki, what a name. Cooper, first of all, what did you think when they picked that name?
Speaking freely, I didn't like either of these tribe names. I've liked most of the ones we had in the past, and then this season they were like shouting their tribe names at me, and I was like, what? Like you picked what to be your tribe name? And I was like, okay, like it's your choice, but not what I would have gone with.
Yeah, the El Norte dances really don't work. God bless them. They're trying, but it's a hard sell.
You didn't like their chant when they came into like the 3rd challenge or whatever that was, episode 3?
Why episode 3? Why are you waiting this long? Start at the beginning when you don't know if you suck or not. Like if you're doing it in episode 3, it's like if they had lost that challenge, it would have been like a pure embarrassment,
They clearly need to do it more often. Like they ended up winning that challenge, so
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. El Norte and the Doki Doki Lit Club tribe.
One of my favorite running gags from the season is Ben's just inability or just like to say Tokidoki correctly. And at a certain point,
contempt.
He knew the name and would just butcher it on purpose over and over. Like in all of his confessionals, would never actually say the name correctly. Like would get as close to it as possible or sometimes as far as possible. But would literally never use Tokidoki, which was funny because he couldn't say Savu Savu from last season. It was kind of just he brought it again.
Yeah, if I was on this if I was playing against these guys, I would just call them Okie Dokie, and like I would also never say their name. But I love how like happy it makes them all. Like I'm happy that they're happy. But might I suggest naming tribes from now on? Who's to say? You're not there, so not your decision.
Yeah, I think we've stuck to the tradition of just like, oh, it's a nice little bonding experience. It's like your first thing you can do as a tribe is just like make your name. So we've stuck with that, I think, for Survivor Michigan. But like this season really made me want to just like be like, no, we're picking the tribe names.
It's no A Tribe Called Quest.
Right.
I will say we still have better tribe names than other college survivors. Boston, a few recent ones in Maryland, like.
Maryland has had some atrocious names recently, but I have to say that I get it. Ohana means family, but like, come on, a Survivor tribe named Ohana, please. Like as Kat says, someone in your family has to die. Like this is how
there are deaths in families.
There are deaths.
End of story.
I screamed.
Oh, she screamed.
She screamed and left, I guess.
Yeah, it was so loud. What tribe name would you say has been?
Myself call. Sorry.
So you screamed. Tell us more.
I screamed and then I accidentally swiped a little bit back on my mouse pad and I went back into hell. Lee, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just going to quickly take over while you were gone. I was like, what would you say has been the best tribe name you've heard?
The best tribe name that I've heard. I'm very partial to Neela from season 1.
Obviously.
For obvious reasons. But
the tribe
let's see. But yeah, besides that, I actually like Tormenta's name a lot.
I was gonna say Tormenta too.
Yeah, it just kind of encapsulated, like, it was very rainy that first day too, and it was just kind of like it fit their tribe so well. It's just like they were a disaster.
Yeah.
So
constant storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite tribe names too. Is I think that really sells everything that they were working with on that tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Lee, do you have a favorite?
Out of Michigan, probably Defeat, just because I like the name.
That's so cute when you say it. It's the accent. So let's talk about this challenge. I know this was drawn up by our own genius mad scientist, Dr. Will. How did this fall into your lap? Oh,
it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense now why Ben went home.
It was the long game from Will there. He knew what he was doing.
Long con. Oh my God. Yeah, Cooper, talk us through this.
So at first, just in general, after the challenge in episode 3, I started like vetting the challenges a little more closely, just because that one was kind of like that one just got a little messy in it, and I was just like, okay, like maybe don't show up and then just like ask the person who's playing the challenge what the challenge is and then just do the challenge. Like maybe know ahead of time what the challenge is if you're hosting. So I made that a rule for the rest of the season.
Come on, Jeff.
I know. I'd done so much of the planning for like 2 and 3, and we had all these new people who really wanted to help for season 4. So I was just like let them do their thing. Like they're gonna be the next people like that are running production. Like get them all involved and whatnot. And then I was starting to be like, okay, but maybe have a little bit of involvement. Like that would still be okay. So yeah, basically Will and Kevin actually I think were the main 2 that like pitched this challenge, and I was just like, how, like I was like, this sounds weird. So like I was like, I'm gonna need you to test run this first before we even try to throw this at the contestants. So fun fact, and actually I think you do see a brief cut of it while I'm explaining it. It's Will and Kevin that are like doing the challenge partially, like while I'm explaining it in the episode. So I made them test run it, and because we were also worried that they were gonna like get through all of the watermelon in 10 minutes. We were trying to do like, how much watermelon do we need? How much time do we want to give them? Just like all the different things you have to come up with when you're doing a challenge. So they did it. It seemed to work fine. And we were like, okay, this is a great idea. This is actually going to be hilarious because I want to see all these people do this. And we knew we were going to have Eric for this challenge too. And I was like, oh, this is going to be even funnier that we're just going to throw Eric into this and be like, yeah, just go like eat a bunch of watermelon and like spit it all in these buckets, like with these people you've never met before. So it ended up working out.
Yeah, man, what a wild experience to throw Eric right back into. Hey, do you want to swap spit with a bunch of strangers? I mean, to be fair, that's what most live reality games are anyways, but like the man was not a real survivor. He did lick some fingers though, so I feel like he's the perfect candidate out of everybody.
True.
This challenge is incredible. I think I put this in the Discord, and if you're not in on the Survivor Michigan Discord, it's part of the Survivor subreddit Discord. It's a channel in there. I know these words. I mentioned that obviously we all saw the most perfect moment of Survivor Michigan ever, which is where Dale decides to go full throttle and smack his head into a table with watermelon on it. But when Kevin puts the watermelon back on and it's covered in dirt and mud, my brain went, I didn't know watermelon oxidized that fast. Like, my brain did not for a second go, it's covered in dirt and mud. And I was like, oh, wait, okay, there we go. But, like, what a beautiful, beautiful moment. Cooper, reaction in the moment to this, how did you feel? What were you thinking?
So first of all, my reaction was, because I'm just like hosting this challenge, so I'm like looking all over. I'm trying to monitor that people like have their hands behind their backs. People aren't like doing anything they're not supposed to be, commenting, whatever. And I'm pretty sure I like turned my head and I just see Dale just like full force, like head on watermelon like 3 times. And I was like, he's gonna hurt himself. Like, he's literally gonna like break his nose trying this.
Yeah.
Like, I was also so confused. Like, how was this helping for the challenge? Like, in what way was this helping you get watermelon from your table to the bucket? Like, I still to this day could not tell you how he wanted that to work and help them in the challenge. Like, literally couldn't.
No idea. Lee, you've had a lot to say about this. Clue us in.
Yeah, so basically, I said that if you're in the Discord or reading the comment section on the videos, if not, go check the videos and find my comments. I've been saying how much I don't really like majority of the new people, specifically the Tokidoki guys. And Dale smashing the melon is a perfect example of how he plays the game, like an absolute meathead.
You gotta love him,
glad
though.
Lee is here.
He's so entertaining.
I don't like straight people.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Speaking of hating straight people, Anders is here.
I don't like the stereotype bro, arrogant, straight guys, which is pretty much the Tokidoki guys.
Oh yeah. Besides Adam, it was like Adam was on like one side of the spectrum, and then like the other 3 are on like the complete opposite. So like, yeah. If you don't like that kind of just like
the only character, guy I don't root for any of the new guys. I only root for Matthew and Jack.
That's really interesting, because it is kind of like, it's like the soft boys on one tribe, right? You know, Jack mentions a couple episodes ago that he like now has a beer gut because, you know, look, we've all been to, you know, some sort of beer drinking event, and it's just downhill from there. Except for Lee, who's a toddler who doesn't drink. And it shows. Lovely skin. And this is like what I love about this tribe, and I know you hate it, Lee, is that they are a bunch of meatheads, and for no fucking reason at all, he's going to, because, okay, Cooper, maybe I did a rule clarification if I missed it. So if he had broken it into pieces, could he have taken a piece that was maybe like a little bit bigger? Like, I don't know.
Actually, yes, that was possibly the only explanation you could give technically. So you were supposed to just bite a chunk off of the watermelon and then like take that chunk away. But like at a certain point, there were people like trying to find loopholes all the time. So they're like, what if 2 people like each bite it, like take a side and then like bite it, and they bite it in half? Do they each get to like take that piece back then? And it was like, no, whatever pieces gets like broken off of the watermelon, whether you bite it or somehow find another way to rip it off without your hands, like you have to take the smaller of the 2 pieces. So I guess you could say he was maybe trying to just break it in half and then take the smaller piece, but like breaking a watermelon in half with your head while the red side is like facing your face, like I don't get it.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is watermelons are, as we know, mostly water, and so it's just I just realized I have watermelon in my fridge and I did not bring it out for this. What a fucking how I shouldn't have a fake job. That's the
Get
thing
out.
is that's the thing is I watched it, I was like, I mean, it's fucking beautiful, but it makes no goddamn sense. And just watermelon is flying everywhere. And I was like, the only way that this could work is if you like break off a chunk and like it's bigger than maybe what your mouth can carry, then you have a good sized chunk. But it's like just get a buddy and both of you bite it at the same time and try and rip it a little bit more with a little more force. Like I don't and everybody, I love that like the whole world stops when he does it in this challenge. Of, you know what I mean? Like everybody's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That just happened?
I think he almost broke the table.
He did look like he almost broke that. And those things snap pretty easy. I'm a Bills fan, I understand.
Yeah, it was all around just like it was just chaos from the moment he started doing that. Everyone was like, what is happening over there? And the production was like also trying to like run in and catch all the watermelon as he was just like things were just flying everywhere. Because like we were before the challenge, we were like, all right, if something starts to like slip off the table, we'll like get it for you. We understand it's gonna be like watermelon juice everywhere and it's gonna get slippery and whatnot. So like we were like, if something starts going off the table, we'll catch it for you. Little did we know that Dale was just gonna start like headbutting things off the table, but like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and poor Kevin, just running in here, just like, please let me help you. I love him. Oh,
Aaron made a quick cameo in the episode.
Yes, a lot of cameos in the past couple episodes, and I didn't think that this was particularly what sent Tokidoki over the edge. I think it was Eric joining their tribe. Also, the beautiful irony of Jackson being like, I don't give a shit if Eric joins our tribe, and then they win because of it. Fantastic. That's what kind of cracked me up about Jackson. I was like, why don't you care? You have a Survivor buff in your background. You don't care? I was perplexed by Jackson in this.
He's a huge Survivor fan. He just is like very much like he's the person who just like doesn't get starstruck by anybody, I don't think. So like he's just like, oh, Eric, another person who just like got medevaced and gave up immunity at the final 5. Like, nah, it wasn't that good of a Survivor player. Like there could be more people I want to meet. Like that's just like Jackson's personality in general, which is so funny to me. I mean, I love Jackson for the record. I love all these people that we cast this season, but yeah, sorry, side note there.
Yeah, Jackson to me feels like a Bachelor contestant, if that makes sense, or like a Bachelorette contestant. Big Bachelorette energy. I
mean, obviously, every girl wants to jump on him.
I think he could do very well on The Bachelorette.
I think so too. Jackson, Matthew, here to set the record straight. Jackson helped more than he let on in his confessional. I'll say that. Oh, Jackson. Trying to play it cool. God. We understand, but we know you. We see the buff in your background. And that is a merge buff. And I think that's dorkier. Then this challenge is disgusting. Poor El Norte feels the agony of defeat again. And then Jack makes a joke about Eric Ruckenbach giving up immunity. And I was like, oh my God. Cooper, did anybody on Jack's tribe have things to say about that I may be blanking on?
No, I don't think so. I think it kind of got glossed over really in the grand scheme of things. And I think like people have just heard the jokes so many times and Eric's heard the jokes so many times. It just like, it was kind of just like, oh, another one of those, like somebody just like said it to his face, which was like kind of funny and pretty bold. But like, as far as people being like, oh my God, I can't believe Jack said that. Like, honestly, they were more upset that they were like, we have to go to tribal again. Like, I think that was more the reaction to like what was happening.
Yeah. Lee, any final thoughts on this beautiful, disgusting piece of performance art?
Never bring it back.
Okay. Bring it back next season.
Did Tokidoki have like an extra member with Eric? Was it like 6 plus Eric, and then against the 6 El Norte?
Yep.
So they had an extra mouth.
Yep. And so they we didn't specifically say what was gonna like happen if you won the reward challenge, but I think we basically said you were gonna get to meet Eric and you were gonna get an advantage in the challenge, and he was gonna like play with you. So it wasn't like he is going to be an extra person and this is the challenge, and you're like, it's going to be kind of an advantage, but it was like, you'll have some sort of advantage if you win this challenge.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And never bring it back.
No promises.
They
thank
recreate
you.
the self-specific meat challenge.
Yeah, just like one rotisserie chicken. I would love that. With El Norte losing, we basically get the scramble of the century. I love this episode. I thought like the sort of like looming like countdown clock of like 26 hours to tribal, and I was like 26, very specific. But that's when you know shit's hitting the fan. When it's like, you know, you got 24 hours to make a plan. Cooper, start off the bat. Did you think when they lost that this was going to be as messy as it ended up being?
No. It had been like probably 2 weeks of like the Breakfast Club is like here, they're here to stay. Like they were getting to be like pretty close friends. Like you see clips of them being like, let's have a sleepover. Like we're at Jack's like metal frat. Like we're all just like hanging out. We're going to parties together. Like the four of them got kind of close, and like they were kind of friendly with Megan and Nate and stuff. But like it was so assumed that it was just going to be like one of the two people on the bottom should El Norte lose. So like the first thing that they all do, they're just like, all right, let's split the vote. Like, and then like everyone was like, well, that was super expected. So honestly, we thought this was going to be a fairly simple week. Like we'll split the vote. Maybe it's kind of just like an episode where you don't know if it's Nate, you don't know if it's Megan, but like weren't expecting too much out of it. And then it just like hit the fan, and the plan changed like 4 times in a span of like 24 hours. Like genuinely what people thought was going to happen at Tribal changed like so many times this week.
Exactly. Lee, I feel like this for you is just like a downhill, like, oh no. Like
Literally, every time I saw that countdown clock, it was like, oh no, they're going to say Ben's name. Oh no, it's going to be Ben that's target. Oh no. Yeah. Every time I was like, okay, just go to Tribal. Okay, Nate's going home. Okay, so it's Jack now. Okay, I like Jack. If he goes home, I'll be sad, but not as sad as Ben. It's like, I think everyone's name except Katie's got thrown. At least from viewing the episode, because split into Megan, Nate targeting Jack, end up targeting Ben. I think Camilla's name was mentioned. Katie's name never mentioned.
Yes, I believe that's true. There was probably a point in the week where it was going to be everybody besides Katie.
Right.
Yeah, because she's like one of the only people I'm rooting for now. It's like her, Jack, Camilla, Matthew, and Elise.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, it was kind of like if you were going to come after Ben and Katie, like nobody ever really said Katie's name. It was always just like if you were coming after that pair, they were just like, let's just do Ben.
Bro, Dustin from the top rope. I'm sure Tom mentioned Katie at least once this episode. Oh, my dear Lord.
Tom was very active in the pre-jury group chat. I'm sure he had conspiracy theories every single week about who was going home. And I'm pretty sure every week he said some kind of theory where everybody went home. Like what you saw in his like boot episode was basically then happening every single week in the like pre-jury like chat. Like no joke.
Love him. And so this episode, I was fascinated by like just how quickly things can turn for people. First of all, you have the Breakfast Club, and they're having a fucking sleepover, and like I'm just watching this and I'm like, oh, this is basically like an example of like sometimes it is just better to stick to one side, don't overcommit yourself. Sometimes when somebody's on the bottom, you just keep them there and you vote them out. But this was really just like everybody overplaying their hand, and then miraculously Jack kind of has this, I would say, the stronger alliance partner, and their relationships really save them, whereas Ben's relationships don't save him. So I think what we need to talk about now is Ivy, who has been gone for probably 3 episodes and just decides to come back to fuck up Ben's game so far.
Now she has no storyline.
No storyline. Cooper, tell us more about Ivy, please.
Ivy, I mean, we were super excited like to cast her. This was such a competitive cast to even get on. So like we loved every single person that we cast.
She seems lovely, to be fair. She seems lovely.
Yes. And we really wanted this whole thing with like Nate and Ben and Ivy. It was just such like a sticky situation between all of them. Kind of mostly it was kind of just like Nate and Ivy really, really wanted to work together. And then like Ben thought he really wanted to work with Ivy, and Ivy was just like, I want you out as soon as possible. So it was just kind of like this weird web of things that were happening. And that is kind of Ivy's storyline up until this point, is kind of just like, okay, I'm super close with Nate and I want to do everything I can to help him. And Ben wants to work with me too, but screw that. Like, I'm going to do everything in my power to just like make sure he goes. So like, that's kind of been her storyline. I mean, we'll see if that changes. I don't want to give anything away. But yeah, there was just it was messy all around this episode. Not only were things changing on El Norte so quickly, but you have Ivy talking to Nate, Ivy talking to Ben, Jack and Ben talking to Matt and Eliza, Jackson talking to Megan. Like, the cross-tribal stuff starts to really hit this episode, and Ivy is like definitely at the center of that.
Yeah, Ivy is really giving away so much. If she wants to protect Nate, why does she want to rat Nate out to everybody about what Nate is doing? I don't understand it one bit. And I really am fascinated by the fact that like Ben goes to Ivy, he's like, I don't want Nate to. I think he says originally like, I'm gonna vote. I think we're gonna vote on Nate. But then at some point the plan swings back to, no, I don't want Nate to go, and like Ivy's no fucking help with that, and kind of really like nails Ben's coffin shut. And I was pretty frustrated as a viewer because Lee, you're not a Meathead fan. I'm not a fan of the unpredictability of these moves. And I feel like that Ben may have overplayed a little bit, but like, how could he have known that Ivy was just going to reveal everything to her tribe? I don't get it. I don't know. I'm just perplexed. Lee, do you want to talk about this at all?
Okay. So the only storyline we're getting with Ivy is all we're getting from her is, I want Ben gone. I want Ben gone. Why? First off, I don't know why. Like, if he wants to work with you, wouldn't you want to keep him?
First of all, how dare you? Yes.
Okay. Also, I want to preface, I'm sure all these people are lovely. I just hate them as game players. I'm sure they're great as people.
Fair.
Oh my god.
And like, she's put in so much effort to get out someone that she's not even on a tribe with. Like, it maybe if her and Ben were on the same tribe, then maybe I could understand her putting so much effort into getting him out. I just don't get, like, why is everyone like, Ben has to go, Ben has to go? Like, yeah, he has the Ben bomb, but what else?
Yeah, this is again where you lose me, right? Because if you want to keep Nate safe, why not try and get Megan voted out? That's where I'm kind of sitting here perplexed. Like, yeah. Why not try and get like Megan or Camilla voted out? Like, and
why
that's
specifically Ben.
Yeah, why? Because Ben is a huge target later on. He thinks that you're working together. He thinks that he can trust you. It's like cutting yourself off at the knee, you know. And I was very perplexed by this move, right, from Ivy. I hope it works out for her in some way, but it reminded me a lot of major conflict energy. Not that this season has that, because obviously we see Jack really turn it around, and it does become, I think, Jack's move. But it has a lot of that major conflict energy of like, what is everybody doing here on this day? Because it makes no sense to me as a Survivor fan. But I'm sure Ivy has her plan, and in her mind, this is going great. Nate is safe. Ben is out. We will see if this pays any dividends at all for Ivy.
I'll be surprised if she makes the merge or even gets a confessional.
I guess, okay, so to give you like a quick my best kind of answer to all of this is if you want some kind of strategic answer from Ivy as to like a good reason why this happened, you're not going to get one. Like, you're just not. So if you think about this from like a game player like perspective, like strategically, how is this helping her? I don't think you're going to find that anywhere in the episodes or anywhere outside of the episodes. I think it was, I want Ben gone. I don't trust him. And honestly, I think she thought it would just be kind of funny to just send Ben home. And that was kind of her entire goal, even while she was not on a tribe with him, which was like, that was what she was trying to do in the game. And that's what comes across, whether it's like, whether it makes sense for her from a game perspective. I mean, I don't know, but that was what she was trying to do in the game. So what you see on screen is what was happening.
Yeah. And just, I think, like, Nate, the whole Nate relationship and Ivy, I find very fascinating. And I am interested to see them going forward and see what can happen. But really, it feels like I don't know who's more screwed, like Ivy, Nate, Katie. Like I'm staring at all of them. I'm like, a Cat. I don't know who is like more screwed out of everybody on these tribes. And this move was wild. So let's move on to the next part of this. So Ivy rats out Ben to her whole tribe, who offer her literally nothing in return. And then moving on, then Ben decides, Nate, you know what? I don't want to vote him out. He's got a nice roommate who's in the middle of this confessional. I think I want to keep him around. That was so cute. I love that. And I missed that on the first. I missed that on the first watch. I was like, someone's like, "Oh, Nate's roommate." I was like, "Who are we talking about?" Ben decides he's gonna work with Katie and Nate. And is Megan a part of this? Remind me, like, what is the plan here?
So she's not really. So initially, it's kind of like they don't really trust Jack and Camila because they lied about the whole idol clue thing, and like Megan had showed them the clue, and then like they didn't tell Ben and Katie about that. So that's like initially why Ben and Katie are like, screw them, like they're lying to us, they're playing both sides, like we're done with this. We're just gonna scoop up Nate, and like that's gonna be that. And then they also try to get Megan on board as well. They're like, well, it's going to be kind of weird if we just have 3 moving forward. And Nate was still kind of like cool with Megan and wanted to work with Megan. So it was like, we'll just include Megan in this too. But obviously that then causes so many more issues because Megan's like, well, I don't like this floor. Like, this doesn't suit me at all. And then things keep changing.
I will say this. I think the only person that benefits from this move is Megan.
Correct.
So
Correct.
That's why I say, like, when you said this is really Jack's move, I say it's more Megan's move. Because if Megan said nothing to Jack or Camilla, Jack would have been gone.
Yes, that's a fair point. I think it's like sort of, I think it's like Jack's move to placate Ben, but it's Megan's move to aggressively go against Ben, if that makes sense. And they both are, it's really masterful. It's almost like what you want in an alliance, right? It's like, you go tell the person that they're safe, we'll go get the votes, and we'll fuck everybody's day up. But I couldn't agree more. This is not a great move for Jack and Camilla. Maybe would have been better at 5 when you like, because, you know, you want Ben there, big target, Ben bomb. But what can you do? And this really kind of comes back down to like the idol clue, which I did not think was going to be a huge plot point, seeing as nobody found the idol because Elisa found it. Insane how one piece of paper can damage people's relationships so severely.
Or in Ben cases, 3 pieces of paper with his name on.
Oh, man. So, Cooper, I want to know a little bit more about the Megan and Jackson showmance. How's it going? Is it real? Should I be thinking about them on Valentine's Day? I don't know. Like, what's going on with these? I don't know, just kidding. Very fun scene. Can you feel the love tonight playing underneath? What a time.
Yeah, I want to say very little on this topic, honestly, because this was in the episode for a reason, and it like I don't know. I honestly, you just kind of have to watch how everything plays out, and
my Lord.
This is not the end of Megan and Jackson's like relationship. I guess that's all I want to say. I don't want to like. It's hard to even say anything about it, honestly, without like I want to just be very careful.
Okay. By the way, quick hello to Austin. How are you? King of season 3. What I'm so fascinated by is how like we get a lot of confessions about how like Nate thinks that Camilla is just like kind of abusing her relationship with Megan. But I actually think it's one of the most interesting and dynamic relationships of the whole cast. Like, they clearly like each other. And also, Camilla is so young compared to Megan, right? Like, it's not like, a decade apart, but it is like Megan almost feels like an older sister, if that makes sense. And I love this relationship. And it's just like, Megan is so abused by Camilla. And I was like, neither of them can stop smiling. I don't understand how this is aggressively mean to anybody. Lee, what do you think about this relationship?
I'm always confused with this like abuse. It's like they're actually good friends. If anything, Jackson's probably going to be the one to abuse Megan. I think it's this whole like, okay, now that we actually have somebody here from Michigan that involves like, what is this whole Alpha Phi thing?
I mean, to put it very simply, Alpha Phi is just like a very good sorority at Michigan. So it's just like, I mean, there's to go into this like very briefly, there's just like different tiers of frats and sororities, just like Greek life in general is just how it works. So like there are sororities and frats that are just better than other ones. Like, and it's not really like, there's no like list or ranking. It's just kind of like a general, this is about where you fall. So like, that's just near the top. And like people who know a little bit about Greek life kind of understand that. And you get very judged based on kind of where you fall, whether it's high, middle, low, and you can get judged for being in any of those places for anything. But it's just kind of she's in a very good sorority. That's all there is to it, really.
You Americans and your sororities.
Yeah, Lee, please ask us more questions about sororities and fraternities. What else do you want to know about them? I was never in one, so I can't answer anything. Why? Couldn't tell you. Didn't do them in college.
Is this like in Leaders at Best when Lucy told everyone I'm in Scrappa and Maggie was like, "Oh, you're a Scrappa girl."
Yes. No, it's exactly like that. Yeah.
Now, was that in like, oh, you're like, is it similar to Camilla where it's like, oh, you're Alpha Phi, so you're probably horrible, or is it like, oh, you're in Scrappa, you're probably an idiot?
Scrap is like a decent sorority. I think they're very known for like partying and everything. But like in general, Maggie was just like not for Greek life as a whole. So just like it didn't really matter where Lucy was in Greek life. It was just kind of like, and like that was her fun fact. That's how the whole thing started. Was like Lucy's fun fact was that she was in Scrappa. So Maggie just kind of latched onto that right away, and like that was how that started.
Yeah, I think I relate very closely to Maggie, if this makes any sense to Lee, where like when somebody tells you that their defining characteristic or a fun part of them is that they basically studied a bunch of like text to join this like group of girls and be like, oh, we're in a sorority, and I'm sure there's lots of positives that sorority do. My gut reaction is always okay, and I think that's where like Maggie comes from, and I think it's kind of where some people come from, especially with Phi for Camilla. Like, just because like you're in this group of like young women doesn't mean that you're inherently interesting. When sometimes people think it is like the most interesting part about them. But there's so much more, right? There's so much more to Camilla. There's so much more to Lucy, and they kind of sell themselves short almost by being the sorority girls, if that makes sense. And so, but I love it because it stirs the pot so much.
That's something I feel like a lot of this cast suffers from, not like personality-wise mostly, it's gameplay-wise. I feel like a lot of them think like lying equals good gameplay. It's like, oh, if I'm lying a lot, that must mean I'm playing the game well. Or in Nate's case, being a bitch means he has a personality, which it's not.
Lee's gonna walk out of this thing scorched earth, and truly, I can't wait for it. He is on Discord.
I'm just waiting for the ads being like, wow, who are you?
Yeah. There's a reason I didn't get a Dane interview or a Tim interview for Major Conflict, huh? And look, I think that my favorite part of this episode is the Jackson Machiavellianism of it all. Like, I love Jackson. I love that Dale is like, let me get involved with this, but not too involved. You meet with, and this is a great way to build an alliance, right? Meet one-on-one, build a bond, add the next person to it, kind of get a feel for how it's like mixing together, and then like there you have a really good group. And I think Megan is in one of the best spots in this entire game right now. She has a huge power duo wanting to work with her. Another power duo has worked with her and will, and you know, at this point will continue to. And it's just like a great spot to be in. I don't know how long it will last and how she can capitalize on it, but I do think that right now Megan is at the top of the power rankings, and I better see her name in the polls on Instagram in a couple days. You know what I mean? I want to see that pie chart just be like Megan. That's not bad. There you go.
I think Megan's problem, and it's not even her fault, it's everyone else's, it's that they think that she's not doing anything. Like, they don't think that she's going to make power moves because they think she's just nice. Like I said, a lot of them think lying equals good game, and if you're nice, it means, oh, you must be shit at this game.
Cooper, why do people hate happy people?
I don't know. Honestly, I think it is the smile. Like, it's literally glued on her face. Like, you will not see at any point in any of these episodes her not smiling. So like, I think it just stems from that, and they're just like, they don't know whether to be like, do I trust this? Like, even when she's like sad and angry, she's still smiling. Like, how am I ever going to get a read on this? But also, it's just like, yeah, like, do you want her in your? I don't know exactly what it is, but something about Megan is just like, she found herself on the bottom right away, and she's clearly a very good game player. Like, this episode showed it. She found her way from the bottom kind of to the top, and people are now wanting to work with her. But it's just like, I don't know. It's something about the smile. I can't put my finger on it.
I know. Yeah. Which is so funny because like I'm with Shannon where like I hate the cat energy. I'm shocked that people hate the smiley energy. Not that I hate Cat in particular, but I just like, I would be Shannon in this instance. I think I've said it before.
I'm being Shannon right now to most of this cast.
Yes, you are. I'm just perplexed. But we move on to essentially a nightmare of Lee's worst imagination. Jack finds out that hits his ass on the line. Megan has spilled the beans, and Jack and Ben have this incredible conversation. And I was sitting there, like, kind of following it, being like, either Jack is going to look like an idiot, everything's going to be fine, or Ben's going to look like an idiot. And I don't know what it's going to be. Cooper, were you getting, like, did you get live up? Did you know going into this tribal council that Ben was going to get voted out? Or were you just sort of like on the roller coaster with everybody else?
I believe that right before we did know what was happening. Because we sometimes just ask players, like, leading up to tribal, maybe like 30 minutes before, like, what's your plan? And so I think we got the Jack update of like, just met with Ben, and like, I think I convinced him to then like flip back on to Nate. And I think we then also got like the Ben and Katie updates of like, plans changing. Like, now Jack has come crawling back to us and we're like voting Nate. So like, I think we knew it was happening, but it was still like very much a shock. Like, we had brought rocks to that tribal. Like, there was a good period of time where it was like going to be 3-3. And this was literally Jack's just like last ditch effort to be like, if like, I don't want to go to rocks, so please, like, let's figure something out. And he like got Ben to budge, and just, I don't know. It was kind of crazy that he got Ben and Katie to then switch back over right before tribal and somehow get him to trust him again after everything that had went down in the past 24 hours. But it's kind of Ben's arc between the two seasons. The first season, he doesn't trust anybody and he's just out for blood. And this season, he wants to change his game, and he probably overcorrects slightly. He trusts Ivy with a lot of information, and she just has no intention of working with him and kind of guts him. And then at the last second, he trusts Jack and is kind of just like, this is my alliance. These are the people who I want to trust and I want to play with. And Jack does the same thing and just stabs him right in the back. So it's kind of just the dichotomy of Ben's 2 seasons, really.
Yeah, and speaking of rocks, Austin says, I want to say we knew like right before. Hello, Adam.
Yay.
I couldn't agree
Hi,
more, Cooper and a heart. This is, I think you're, and what a moment I think for you guys to see like that Ben's arc has kind of come full circle of like trusting too much or trusting too little to trusting too much. It really is, and I think like this just goes to show that you need the sort of right mix of emotional and cutthroat, right? Because Jack is not going to reciprocate the niceness that Ben is giving to him in this. I'm not going to vote out Jack anymore. I'll vote out Nate. Like, and I just wish that Ben had that moment of like, no, I'm in it for me. I'm not in it to keep Jack in this game. And then it would have been fucking kick-ass rocks. But it's such a shame that it is Ben's kindness that gets him eliminated. Lee, you all right?
I just feel really bad for him because, like, I really liked Ben on his first season as well. The moment he popped on the screen, it's like, oh, you're great. You look like somebody I watch on YouTube. No, seriously, he looks like this one lad I watch. I actually thought it was him for a second till I realized they had different names. I feel like the cast wouldn't let him like forget or move on from his Ben Bond moment because it was probably one of the best moments I've ever seen in College Survivor. It's my personal favorite, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone was so like he wanted to let go of it, but nobody would let him because like Ben's just such a big threat. Like he made this one huge move, he ruined these people's games, and like, I don't know where he was emotionally. Like, I've heard, like, I think Aaron said where he said a lot of the cast, like, didn't want to talk to him or other way around. So I don't know where he was emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Ben had a tough first go of it. And I think, like Cooper said, it's an overcorrection, but it's like, is it a bad thing, right? Is it bad to be nice?
Yeah, he wanted to be nice, and you lot in the cast wouldn't let him.
You meatheads! How dare you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just seeing his face when he saw his name pop up the first time, I knew he was going home. He knew, and I was just like, "Oh, I just want to give you a hug."
And you fuckers got me too, Ian. I'm talking to you. You fuckers got me with that edit. I was like, bye, Jack. See you never. And then it was like, oh no, like it felt like the Inception noise. It's just like that's what it felt like in that moment. And then Ben, in perfect Ben fashion, is like, fuck all of you guys. And then I was like, that was a good move. Like, beautiful. Cooper, do you have eulogy for Ben in this moment?
I mean, I love Ben. Like, yeah, on a personal level, like we're definitely friends and everything. So and he had people on production who were also just like very good friends of his, right? So like, it's so hard knowing what's about to happen and then seeing it, and as the audience, and you kind of realize it at the same time as him. That's just like, oh my God, this is what's happening. Like, this is how he's going out in his like second chance that he wanted so bad. So like, you feel for him. And Lee, to your point, I think we did give him many hugs after this. So he at least got a little bit of that, but like he is just such a nice person in real life, as well as like he loves this game. He wanted to play again so bad, and he wanted to just kind of rewrite his story so bad, which is why I think you see him come out and just play such a different game. Like, I would have been on every single season if I could. Like, his confessionals are always top notch. Like, oh my God. You know what? Talk to the current production. I'm sure they can work something out. But yes. I mean, he's amazing. Yeah.
So Mark, great point here. We haven't talked a lot about Katie, and Katie is the sole person sort of, I don't want to say blindsided because Nate is a little blindsided, in two different ways. But Katie is left out of what she thought was her alliance doing something. And Marcus, I'm very interested in Katie's edit. We see her give a ride to Aaron when no one else does. She's seen as a threat with Ben, but isn't targeted as all. I don't know how to read her edit. And this is why I selected Katie as my winner pick, I think. It's either Katie or Eliza. Because I think she's under the radar queen. She's not seen as somebody that people want to lose, except for Tom, I guess. But she's so nice and is extending the olive branch without seeming too smiley and getting the Megan edit. So I'm super thrilled that Katie is doing so well in this game. And I hope that her success continues, because at this point she needs to like avenge Ben. I just want her at the Final Tribal Council to just like be staring at Jack and be like, I did this. You know, like I want the drama. Like, Cooper, tell us a little bit more about Katie, please.
Yeah, Katie, I feel like Katie and Ivy are in a very similar spot with the edit right now, in the sense that I know Lee's giving me a face, but I think Naomi knows where I'm about to go with this. Ben is now gone, right? So both of their storylines to this point have been so attached to him. Ivy has really wanted him out. Katie has really kind of been under his wing, and they've been seen very much as a duo. So their storylines without Ben now have to kind of go elsewhere. So I mean, it will kind of change, and you'll get to see kind of a different side of both of them. But I think in these next few episodes, you're gonna see Katie, and she's gonna have to start playing her own game more now that Ben isn't there. She's kind of on the bottom of El Norte now. Like, it's kind of the three who just voted together, and then her, but she just also voted for Nate. So there's kind of just like this weird dynamic, and she's going to have to crawl her way out of that, or at least try to. And I think it's kind of an interesting spot of what she ends up doing from all of this, I guess is what I will say.
Lee, if you're Katie, who do you try to work with after this moment?
If I'm Katie, I pray for a swap.
She needs to pull Natalie Anderson. Okay, Mark. Okay.
Natalie, I would love to see season though.
Is there? Wait, Cooper. Legally, you have to tell us if there's an edge of extinction, and Ben might come back. Like, you have to tell us.
I actually have heard some rumors about this here and there of like it was a 16-person cast made for Edge of Extinction or some kind of Redemption Island. I don't know if I want to like spoil that yes or no. I really want to kind of give that out, but I also do like all the conspiracy
just
theories.
Say no, stop playing with us.
I'll just let it play out.
Cooper, how dare you? Yeah. So Lee, what do you think?
Okay, I'm really just trying to put myself in Katie's shoes. I vote. 3 people voted against me who I thought I was working with, and the one other person I voted for. She really is in a bad situation. I guess I say the best person to go to would be Camilla. Because I feel like she's the most connected. Like, if her and Camilla could connect, Camilla can be like, I can spare Katie, and if we lose again, I'll just vote off Nate. Which I think they should have done first, and then not just talk because of bias reasons.
Yeah, I feel like if Nate knows he's on the bottom, like, you might as well. I also think that maybe what Katie can do is go to the other side and go to, I would say, Eliza and Matthew. I think those are 2 people who know exactly what to do with a person who's been singled out of the numbers, and why wouldn't you want to work with Eliza? But I agree. I think Camilla's the person.
Eliza is in the best position in this game. Everybody wants to work with her. Nobody suspects her. And I think Ben said it, like, the 2 biggest threats of the returnees are the 2 people that got out early, and the 2 people that made it far are, like, skating by.
That's true.
Yeah. Well,
so
Jack,
yeah.
Well, Jack now have a spotlight on it, and now it's just Eliza. It's the Eliza show now. It's not even the Tokidoki tribe. It's the Eliza tribe plus 7.
Plus 6 now.
Plus 6.
Yeah. Plus 5 plus cat.
Well, I think that if I'm Katie, I'm going to Camilla for sure. Camilla's got, I would say, some of the most influence on this tribe, and then I would go to Eliza and Matthew and try and see if this is a swap, get ahead of the game. Say they just blindsided the shit out of me. I'm here for you. What do you want to do? Rather than flipping later on, because then they feel more confident in you that you're setting up something to actually sustain, rather than just whatever you want to do. Any final thoughts on this episode? We had so much to talk about. I loved it. Brilliant episode. It's only the fourth one. I'm very exhausted emotionally. Lee, anything else we haven't touched on?
Not really that I can think of. This is just a small thought that I always have, but the necklace Camilla always wears to tribal, I'm just one day waiting for her to be like, this is actually an idol. I've been wearing it this whole time.
Which one? She has a few different ones. It's the one with her. It's not the one with her name on it.
No, it's the green one. It's has something around it and has a green center. I think she wore it.
Oh yes, I'm seeing it. Yeah, you can see it in this. It matches her earrings though. That would be iconic.
Yeah, I feel like every necklace she wears could be a potential fake idol she could easily play, except the one with her name on it.
Now, Cooper, I know that Camilla notoriously would try and flirt with you to get information in the game, and you always resisted. You never gave in. You never accepted the peanut butter. That's a terrible, terrible euphemism, and I'm so sorry to everybody who just heard me say that. Cooper, do you have any fun, I don't know, behind the scenes moments from maybe this episode or just in general from this point for previous, I don't know, words, you know what I mean?
Not necessarily even relating to the whole Camila thing, just in general, or talk on that specifically.
Anything. Please.
Let's see. I'll give a little something away, and I won't give too much, but I'll kind of give a little teaser. Yeah. You may see some other cameo hosts during the season potentially. So there may be an episode or two or whatever where I was not able to show up to something. So you might see a familiar face from the past, someone you haven't seen yet. But fun fact, you will get a cameo host at some point during the season.
Does George return?
King George. Could be. And Austin says, my favorite behind the scenes moment from this episode was being on the Tokidoki bucket cam. I can't think of a worse experience.
Get rid of that challenge.
It's so
never
gross.
Bring it back.
Oh my God. I love this episode. Congrats to you and the team so far. You and Ian, everybody, the long list of names have been crushing it. Thank you, Lee, for joining us. Cooper, it's a pleasure to have you here every time. And hopefully we'll have more conversations in the future. Are we ready to get out of here? This has been a great recap, I feel like.
Lee, any final words for Ben? Anything you want to say to him?
I hope you're doing well in LA. I hope all's right. I'm hoping you're getting over what just happened. Please be my friend.
Join the Discord, Ben. Yeah.
Join the Discord. And if you're single, I'm open to long distance.
Shoot your shot. Yeah.
I don't believe he is.
No, he's not. I know he's not. Exactly.
Oh God, I need to eat some watermelon. I gotta go. Thank you for watching. Again, subscribe us, Survivor Michigan. Follow you guys on Twitter, Instagram. Check us out, Live Reality Games, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, we're on Instagram. We're also on Twitter. Shout out to Eric Reichenbach, who retweeted this tweet about me doing this. Let me hang out with your dog. Thank you, Cooper. Thank you, Lee. Thank you guys so much. Let's get out of here.